Take a look.
He asked me if I would cooperate in a portrait, and I said I'd be glad to. And then he explained that he was going to do a series of these portraits in preparation for a show exhibiting faces of the North Fork. In the process of talking with him, it came out that he was interested in suggestions of other people that would have an interesting face and also an interesting story.
Pearl Harbor, our west coast became a potential combat zone. But no one knew what would happen among this concentrated population if Japanese forces should try to invade our shores. Military authorities therefore determined that all of them, citizens and aliens alike, would have to move.
I'm John D. Williams Jr. I'm the Executive Director of the National Scrabble Association, also a writer, and I had received a call from Neil about a year ago, I think, telling me a little bit about who he was and that he was going around South Town talking to people and a little bit about the project, and came by the office. We had a real nice chat. He took a couple of pictures, and that's the last I heard of him, and I had assumed that he took scores of pictures, and for some reason I didn't quite make the cut, and my picture wasn't going to be taken, and didn't really think too much about it. And then maybe 8 months later, I got a call from him saying that he had finished the picture and could he bring it by, and I was absolutely thrilled.
After 3 years of painting almost 50 portraits, the long-awaited event had finally arrived for Neil.
She's my dental hygienist.
Oh, okay. She's really good.
And so I had to show her teeth.
And the pearls. It's really nice.
Yes.
And
And then she comes tonight with her hair cut.
oh, well, that's
I'm pretty critical of artwork. I've on TV a lot, and I have my picture taken a lot, and I'm never happy with it. And when Neil took the covering off the painting and I saw it, I literally was speechless, which for me is a rare state. And I called everyone in my office in, take a look at this. We all just couldn't believe how he had captured really who I am and what I do, and I'm just pleased and flabbergasted and flattered, and can't be thankful enough for being a part of this. And he's just a great artist, a talented man, and a really nice man, and I just couldn't be more thrilled.
Fascinating.
I like mine. It's very, it's complimentary, which is always nice, and it shows me in this room with the kinds of things behind me in the background that I enjoy, ship models and artifacts of the North Fork.
Then to come to Greenport and meet someone like David Capel, Jewish family, mayor of a town, and very helpful to me.
Oh, sure, everybody's got a reaction to their, to a picture of them. Most of it's been very favorable. Some people weren't all that happy about how they were depicted, but by and large, I think people were very receptive to it. Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed the show. And I like his choices for subjects is very good.
And I also wondered, as I worked with him and as I began to paint some of his friends in that area, Greenport, East Marion, and their high regards for him. And of course, some who don't even care. But the regard that show him that he's doing something for the community. I like that. That spirit of very noble, I must say.
I think his show is important because it's the first concerted effort to illustrate the people of the North Fork that I've seen at any point in time. So it's a really interesting thing. I think historically it'll be looked back on as an important endeavor.
Not long after the American Faces art exhibit was over, Neil handed me this envelope, which enclosed one of his prints. And along with the print, he wrote this letter to me. Actually, he typed it. But he typed out this letter to me. He printed it to Artie. He writes, to Artie, my 13-year-old granddaughter Naomi said, quote, "The picture of the butterfly you did gives me a feeling of innocence, purity, and contentment," unquote. And Neil continues to write, "When I look at the picture I painted, I am reminded of Rudyard Kipling. Do you know the pile-built village where the sago dealers trade? Do you know the reek of fish and wet bamboo? Do you know the steaming stillness of the orchard-scented glade when the blazing bird-winged butterflies flap through? It is there that I'm going with my camphor net and boxes, to a gentle yellow pirate that I know. To my little wailing lemurs, to the palms and flying foxes, for the red gods call me out, and I must go." Rudyard Kipling. I am also remindful of his words when I think of all our family and friends throughout the world. Happiness to all, signed Neil. On October 23rd, 2010, my friend, Neil Fujita, left our world at the age of 89.
So the memory of that experience left us on that day, and we came back here. But I can only remember all of those touching moments of meeting people on our return, and the people I met during that period. Cody during the war and Cody after the war.
The first thing that has to be said is that the government never was able to document a single instance of subversive activity by a Japanese American in the on the mainland of the United States at any point during the war, with the exception of one very minor incident in Colorado in which a couple of people, Japanese Americans who were living on a farm, helped a couple of German prisoners of war escape from a POW camp. But with that one exception, there were no other documented instances of treasonous or subversive behavior. So that's the first thing. The second thing you have to acknowledge, though, is that, of course, the Japanese military had attacked the United States in a sneak attack at Pearl Harbor in December of 1941. And so there was surely some reason for the government to have some kind of concern about national security at that time. The question really is not, was there any basis for any concern? The question is there any way to find a basis for the actions that the government actually took? What the government actually did was it took every person of Japanese ancestry who was an American citizen, not people of German ancestry who were American citizens, not people of Italian ancestry who were American citizens, but just people of Japanese ancestry who were American citizens. And it, without any inquiry into their actual lives, it uprooted them, regardless of their age, regardless of anything, and it shipped them away from their homes and into these imprisonment camps. So it was doing that with very elderly people. It was taking people out of mental hospitals along the West Coast. It was taking people out of sanitariums. It was taking young children out of orphanages. Japanese American children who were in orphanages in Los Angeles. Everybody, if you had Japanese blood in your veins, as it was described at that time, you were gone. So the question really is not, was there some basis for the government to take some kind of precautionary action? The question is there any justification for the scale and enormity and blanket nature of what it did just to Japanese Americans, but not to German or Italian Americans? And the answer to that has to be that there was no way to defend the enormity of the program that the government actually created and implemented. There's no way to ground that in military necessity. There's no way to ground that in any kind of reasonable fear. The only thing that the enormity of that program can be grounded in is racism, fear and hysteria, and really, in a way, a kind of cowardice on the part of the political leadership of the country at that time, that they caved to the fears and the hysteria rather than showing leadership.